What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. So today I would like to talk about an install commission that I completed on a Jawas Junkyard Courkrus. Done a number of these hilts, a number of installs on these hilts. They are an absolute unit, right? So this hilt was designed by my good friend Benji over at Nerfherder Customs. It is produced by Jawas Junkyard, and it is a big boy. This is a full steel body hilt. It is based on the cover art for Jedi. It is a speeder hilt. So Benji designed this based on the cover art, the profile. It nails it spot on, in my opinion. I love a lot of aspects of this hilt, mainly the external kill switch and external lit arrow switches. I think that is such a cool feature of this hilt, right? So I am going to come into Fusion and talk about this chassis really quickly. I've done this before in the past, but it's been a little while since I've done that, right? So we're going to come into Fusion, talk about the chassis a little bit, and then we will come up top, do a quick demo, and then we will be on our way. We'll put a blade in it too. Why not, right? So anyhow, with all that out of the way, let's come into Fusion. All right, so here it is, the chassis that I designed for the Jawas Junkyard Courkrus. Okay, so I have ever so lovingly put Benji's business name, Nerfherder Customs, on this chassis as a tribute to him. This is his hilt, so I put that on the chassis when I designed it, right? A lot of greebly work has been done on each side of this chassis, and I did add room for a 2020 NeoPixel strip. Now this chassis is meant to be printed in PLA, and that is what this current one was done for this order. I did this one in PLA, right? So a lot of greebly work. Happy with the amount of detail that I got on my Bamboo Carbon X1 in PLA. This is a super greebly heavy chassis, and sometimes these very like fine, minute details don't transfer well in PLA, but I was really happy with the result, right? So we've got a 28mm speaker down here, 2020 NeoPixel strip in this channel. The Proffie board does sit in this tray or cavity. It will slide up underneath the slip around the back. This is our battery tray. Okay, I went ahead and put my logo in this battery tray. I haven't done that in a while, but when I designed this chassis, I put that down in there. And that is pretty much it, right? No kill switch in this chassis because we have that external kill switch on the hilt, which I think is a really, really cool feature of the hilt itself, okay? Making our way up, there is a like a stem that goes up into the upper inner part of the hilt. I have two lit switch PCBs. Now, you can either get these from Stock Custom Works. Stock makes these. Or design these, and KR Sabers provides them, I believe. I think Smuggler's Outpost provides them as well. Or you can also use the ones that are provided by Shadowfoil. For this particular install, I used Shadowfoil's switch PCBs, right? They're a very small PCB with an onboard tactile switch as well as NeoPixels, and you can address those NeoPixels to animate any way you want, obviously, in the config. I have set them up to light as just white, but you can change that if you want. And then up top, we've got our lit PCB emitter. This is from KR Sabers up here. And that's it. Simple static chassis for the Jawas Junkyard Courkrus. Let's go ahead and come up top. All right, so here it is, the Courkrus from Jawas Junkyard. I had to shore up the underside of my desk to make sure that the entire top of my desk did not cave in underneath the weight of this hilt. This is a heavy hilt, okay? We've got a full steel body hilt, and it feels like it, right? This feels like a weapon in hand. Great feeling hilt, man. I love this hilt. So let's talk about the outside of the hilt, obviously, right? So Benji did design this hilt. We've got a cobalt ring down here. Really nice two-tone steel hilt. The grip has been anodized black, I believe. It's either anodized or it's not anodized. There's a special process for coloring steel like this, and I forget the name, right? But this is blacked out. Here is that external kill switch. Really awesome feature of this hilt, right? And then around the front, we've got our lit switches. So these are switch plungers. I think these are acrylic, and they will make a connection to those Shadowfoil switch PCBs, but they can be lit from underneath. So I did mention that you can change the color of those switch PCBs, but you're kind of stuck with either red or green. You can probably use a combination of colors to make that. Like, I don't know what colors I think, what is it? Green and red make purple. You could probably maybe mess around with that. But in the config, I just made these white underneath, okay? And then our lit PCB emitter is in there up top. So to get at your chassis, you just want to unthread this grip. Okay, so here is our chassis. Greebly heavy on both sides. I chose to keep this blacked out. This is Matte Black PLA. Okay, but I am really happy with the amount of, excuse me, I'm really happy with the amount of detail that I got with my PLA on this chassis, right? Okay, so Proffie boards around back. There's our battery tray. Let's go ahead and get a battery for this guy. So, to you, the customer, this install takes an 18650 battery. This is a button top 18650, okay? The flat side of this battery is the negative side, so you want to put that down towards the speaker. So this was already on, okay? If you don't hear anything, you want to hit that kill switch around front. But there are those lit switches. And then we've got our lit 2020 NeoPixel strip back here. All right. So once you get your battery in, you can put your you can put your grip on. And then you're ready to go. So let's get a different font on here. So listen to me, you've got to get him. Okay. Do it now. All right. So the customer for this particular install did have a number of font requests. And I know that I mentioned in a previous video that I don't typically add, you know, a bunch of custom fonts for installs. I did make an exception for this particular install because the customer was okay with paying for the labor and time to add those fonts, right? So we do have some custom fonts on this config. Most of these fonts I have never heard of, and they're pretty interesting, right? So, but there are those two lit switches. Lit PCB emitter works. This is a loud hilt. All right. So. He's a boy. There's no way that little brat can be so strong. All right. So these switches, the red will be your aux. Okay, listen. Listen, I like. He's a boy. There's no way that little brat can be so strong. Okay, there's a lot going on in this sound font. Wow. So this red button is your main, and green will be your aux. All right, let's come down to the bottom. Yeah, there's a lot going on with this font. I think this is a Dragon Ball Z font. All right, so there are those. Let's see if my camera will cooperate. There are those lit switches. Great feature of this hilt. So really, this hilt is really loud. I don't know. There's no way that little brat can be so strong. I don't know if it's the font that's super like treble heavy or if it's. I mean, this is a loud hilt. It's a great sounding hilt to begin with, right? But let me try and find a. I don't know what that is. Let's try it. A little bit less treble heavy. I don't know what this font is. All right, so let's put a blade in it. All right, so this is a 1-inch blade holder. You want to rest your blade on those PCB pins. Get my Allen key here. There is a set screw around the side here, inside of the emitter. That will serve as your blade retention. So you want to tighten that down once your blade is in place. And then you are ready to go. It's an interesting blade style. So this blade style came with this font. I feel like it's going to give me a seizure. You probably can't see it on camera, but it's. Let me see if it's coming out of my shirt. There's. All right. There's some interesting fonts here. This hilt sounds so loud. It's so loud. Oh my god. I'm trying. If I could just find a regular font.
About the rabbit's choice.
Oh. Alright, that's a little bit better. There we go. Alright, so because...
Make sure you go tell your friends.
Let's see if these blade styles... So these blade styles came with the fonts that were purchased. Let's see if they are set up with color wheel.
That is it, man. I don't want to do this anymore.
No, they're not. So another Proffie board...
Make sure you go tell your friends.
Jesus Christ. Proffie boards do have color wheel, like color change, on the fly color change. However, if you have a custom blade style that is not set up for color wheel will not work, right? So I don't think a lot of these custom styles have color wheel. So I'm not going to demo that. But there are those lit switches. God, I love that about this hilt. There they go. Let's try one more.
Make sure you
Font.
go tell your...
A mind powerful enough to break.
I don't recognize any of these fonts. Let's do one more. Let's do one more.
We have a city to burn.
All right, so that's Cyberpunk, I believe. Weird. Interesting. All right. So that's it. That is the... Seriously? There is a lot of post-offs and pre-ons with these fonts. Interesting. So that's the Courkrus from Jawas Junkyard. Those lit switches, God, they're just the best. Best part of this hilt. One of the best parts. It's a great hilt. Anyway, so that is all I've got. To the customer, thank you very much for trusting me with your install. To the viewers, if anyone has any questions about this particular install or the hilt, please do not be a stranger. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Have a good one, everybody.